Before we get started, I just want to say that my podcast is intended to inform individuals about how to improve mindset, mental health, and having or becoming the best individual as they can be. I am not here to be your psychologist. I am here to help individuals out that need to talk to somebody, that need to relate to somebody. So that's why I am putting this video out to the ones that are really needing and wanting to hear some insights over it. Now, this is not a doctor podcast, no, because I am not a doctor. I am not in the biomedical field, and I'm just a teenager. So before we get started, don't take this podcast episode to the enlightenment that it was meant to educate you in biomedical, because I am not certified and I don't know nothing about that. Hi everyone, I'm your host Lillian, and welcome to the Frame of Mind podcast, a podcast dedicated to those willing to reach their high potential selves, wanting the highest quality of their life, open to wisdom and knowledge, and all talk, mental health, self-improvement, and mindset growth. In this podcast, I aim to deliver a message that will help you, motivate you, help and navigate you also into one day becoming successful, but also becoming the best individual that you can be. With no further ado, let's dive into this week's topic. Hi guys, welcome to the Frame of Mind podcast. In this week's episode, hopefully it touches somebody, it reaches out to somebody out there that really needs it or that really wants to take acknowledgement over it. But it's something that I have definitely experienced, something that I have definitely gone through, but not just that, something that is also in the mind of others. So I really wanted to talk about it because God put that in my heart so I can speak about it to y'all. But before we get started, I just want to talk about the newsletter that I posted on the link on my bio thing, which is in Beacons. I posted this thing on my Instagram. It's on the link on the bio. Make sure you follow the Instagram. In the bio, you can type in your email and you can receive newsletters from me, which include podcast episodes information, which include insights over some topics. That's going to help me, number one, find topics that y'all would like. It would also help me write down things that I can't speak out to or speak of. So it would help me a lot in writing them down. So you can subscribe to the newsletter. Not just that, you get some exclusive things that only subscribers get in there. And not just that, you can also get into the free consultations, which I am offering for a short period of time before they get a little pricey. They're not going to get pricey, but I am definitely going to charge for consultations because I see that a lot of people are wanting to talk to me and a lot of people are really wanting to hear some advice from me or listen to someone, and I am so down to listen. So I am going to offer free consultations soon later on. But the consultation is also going to help me a lot in trying to gain wisdom and knowledge as well into creating these podcast episodes. I have so much to learn that other people's situation could actually help me into producing an episode like this. Now, I had to ask some people about this healing and recovery episode because it's something that I have knowledge of, but I am not an expert at it. I am not an expert at healing. I'm not an expert at recovery, but every single one of us has gone through the process of recovering and healing, and it's different for everybody. But I just wanted to talk about this topic to acknowledge it. Now, talking about the newsletter and how it kind of got aligned with it is because there's a lot of people that really want their story to be listened. They want their stories to be heard, and that just made me think I can create something for them so they can be able to reach out and have their story reach out. Now, in the future, I do want to have guests over so I can be able to talk about their own expertise, their own life struggles. I want to talk about life, as many podcast episodes that I listen to that are about entrepreneurship, about life, about mindset, about everything. I really want to be based on the field and where I get to help others mentally, spiritually, physically, in all of that area, and just help them in their life. And so that's why I created this podcast for that purpose. And so I reached out to people about healing and recovery, because healing and recovery is not just someone broke up with me. It's not just oh, my heart is broken. No. Healing and recovery is way more. It's like a piece of art as I see it, because it's such a journey that, number one, a lot of people are not going to understand. You're probably healing from something different than someone else is. Maybe you're still recovering, maybe you're not. But that's the journey that makes it beautiful. That's the journey that makes it unique. What is healing? Healing refers to the process of restoring health and well-being, which can occur on physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. Healing is the process in becoming one or healthy. Now, we're gonna cover all of those things that I've listed, and we're gonna go more into depth over that healing in those 4 aspects. I think it was 4 or 5 that I wrote down, but it is so important to heal, because that's gonna help you achieve the next level. Now, we can't move on if we have not yet acknowledged what happened. Because the thing is, we tend to ignore things and not accept it. See here, for you to be able to heal, you need to be able to go through the discomfort, which leads to the acceptance, which leads to growth. That all equals to healing. You have to allow yourself to heal, because the thing is, we're neglecting the healing process because we feel like we can't get out of it. We feel like this is the end of the world. You think this is the end of the world? You think that situation is worth dying over a healing process that can make you live? See here, yes, the process is hard, but it's through the discomfort that makes you achieve the goals that you want. You want to be healthy, and you claim it, and you want it, and you see it, and you want to have it. You want to be healed. But the thing is, you don't put the effort you don't put the right effort for you to heal. You put the bare minimum. And yes, it's good that you put your bare minimum into trying to heal, because it's the effort that counts. But you're adding the bare minimum of your attention and focus to be able to heal. See here, you got to devote most of yourself into that healing journey. Even if you have 0% effort, it's the thing that counts is you putting yourself in that position. Not neglecting that position. See, what are you gaining by always thinking about wanting to get healed, but always staying stuck at the position that you think that you cannot get out of? You gain nothing. And I started to think that way, because number one, every situation that started coming to me, I was always thinking, why the heck are things going like this? Like, dude, what have I done wrong? But then when I started thinking about what am I winning if I give the situation power? I'm winning nothing. I'm just neglecting myself. That's why I started prioritizing myself, because I didn't match the level of the situation. I didn't match where the situation was at. The storm was not the matter. And yes, the situations hurt. The things that hurt from like traumas from your past, they probably hurt. But why are you going to take account of the past when you have the future in front of you that's within you? You have yourself. You have to show up for yourself. If you're not there for yourself, why are you going to be empty and neglecting you when you could be full of life? I started thinking that. Why am I going to neglect myself, first of all? I deserve to heal. I deserve self-respect. I deserve love. I deserve everything. I'm full of it. I'm full of love because I'm living. I saw that on TikTok. I know healing is such a journey, but it made me understand a lot about me. It truly did. It made me understand that there's so much potential about me. Not just that, you're revealing things to yourself that you never knew that were that there were some things that you never thought that you were able to see when you're healing. And when I was healing from like my family's divorce and my heartbreak, I was just so focused on me, like I couldn't see the world around me, because healing the thing that happened made me realize how much I did need to show up for myself. Healing teaches you how to show up for yourself. Healing teaches you how you get your priorities straight. Healing is such an important thing in our human nature that some of us neglect it because we feel that discomfort in it. here's the thing though. The things that are uncomfortable are the things that are going to help you achieve and succeed in life. You can't get the easy way out. Because if you choose the easy way out, you're going to get the hardest life ever. And why I'm saying this is because a lot of people choose that easy route. A lot of people go through that route to where you start seeing their life going downhill. You thought that situation made you go downhill. I saw you going downhill. That situation was tested upon you to see how you would react. But instead you took the reaction into the actions of the matter of you hurting yourself. Instead of saying that you were going to heal and dedicate time to you, guess what you started doing? You started smoking, you started getting a lot of guys, a lot of girls, you started neglecting your future, you started like a lot of bad habits in your life. Because you chose the easy way out. See here, you got to choose the hard way out to get the easy outcome. And everything in life is not easy. But knowing how to be decisive, that's what's going to make your life easier. Learning how to decide. Learning where you're going to put yourself in. Am I going to put myself in this route or this route? I saw this one note and I loved it so much. And it says, the wound isn't your fault, but the responsibility is up to you to heal. And that is so true, because we are the ones with free will that we can be able to choose what we want in our life. How do we want our life? Why do we want our life? Where do we want our life to go? We have that free will. Now, most of us always like to accuse or like to make the problem or the wound bigger than it is. See here, everyone's going to have wounds. You're not a victim. I have a wound. You have a wound. Someone else has a lot of wounds. You don't know the person to be talking about or acting victim towards to. You gotta also acknowledge what other people go through as well. That's how I was able to heal. Acknowledging others' problems. It is so important that you understand somebody else's situations for you to be able to apply it in your life. You don't understand that other person's life. You don't understand how that life or that experience that they have could actually be the light into where you can lead yourself out. What if their story was the exit to your hard heart, to your brokenness? What if that was the key to your freedom? You are neglecting the opportunities, and then you start blaming the world when the opportunities were right in front of your face. We're blaming the world, we're blaming our life, but yet we don't take accountability of our healing. Our wound is there. Everybody has wound. Stop acting victim. The victim mindset is not the key to your freedom. The key to your freedom is learning from experiences, taking accountability of your healing. The key to freedom is you, not your wound. Because your wounds are then later on going to turn into scars. Why are you relying so much on focusing attention on the current thing when you cannot think about the things on the future? See, here the things in the future are actually more valuable than the things now. Nothing is compared to the future glory that's about to come. But you're comparing it, in which you cannot receive the new. You gotta be able to let go of the things that can't or don't serve you in your life no more, so you can be able to accept the new things to come. Whenever you're healing, you're taking accountability, you're taking account over the things that need to be let go, the things that need to be added on, the habits that you need to change, the behaviors you gotta change. You know how I was able to heal? When I asserted my mind, my heart, my body, and soul to God. And I don't care if you don't believe in him or not, but he's the only way that he can be able to heal your heart, because no one else is going to help you. No one is going to rescue you unless you allow God to help you. Because your own forces are too weak for you to get up. You're weak in the state. You're weak in this state of healing. And I'm saying that because there's no force for you to heal. That's why some healing journeys take longer. That's why some healing journeys are very fast. And very fast is probably like 6 months, 3 months. But it is such a blessing when you know your heart belongs to somebody. It's such a blessing when you start realizing that the world around you, it's not the fault. When you start seeing it as a blessing. See, here, for you to be able to also heal, you have to be able to shift your mind into everything is a blessing. Not everything is hell. Not everything in your life is hell. That situation that happened in your life, or that trauma or anything, that's actually the key, as I mentioned, to your freedom. What if someone can relate to it? What if someone can actually or wants to help you out? The thing is, you're limiting yourself and shrinking yourself into your mind that you can't even get out of that shrinkage. You have to be able to expand slowly, in which healing is such a slow process because you're gaining slowly everything that you have lost. That's where recovery comes from. But I'm going to talk about recovery later on in the second segment. Right now, I'm talking about healing. And so, take the accountability over the healing journey. Even though it's uncomfortable, even though you don't like it, it's all worth it. Think about it. Everything is going to be worth it because nothing is compared to the future glory that's about to happen. When you start asserting your mind, your body, your soul, your heart to God, nothing can tear you apart from Him. You can make yourself the biggest enemy, you know? You can look at yourself and be like, I freaking hate you. And you got to heal that part of you that is so hard to yourself. Because for you to be able to heal, you got to be able to understand what self-love is. As I mentioned in my other episode of the blessings of solitude, you got to be able to love yourself. Love yourself. Even if it's, as I mentioned, it's the effort, not the position. You can't put yourself in that position and expect for you to be already healed when you have yet acknowledged the love that you need. We all are going to lack some things and some sources in our life, but that's up to us on how we're going to provide it. How are we able to provide the sources that we're lacking is by God. And I can't explain other words on how you can get other resources than explaining it to the things that are up on heaven. Because the things down on here on earth are not the things that are going to help you heal. The drinking, the smoking, the girls, the boys, the guys, the parties, those are not going to help you heal at all, because that's leading you into distraction and not leading you to the future. See there? As I mentioned, you're neglecting that healing process because you are so comfortable in a position that you do not want to change or shift your mind into. Do you think it's hard? Yes, it's going to be hard. No one told you healing was going to be easy. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy, but what I'm telling you is that there is hope for healing. I'm telling you this because there's hope for the future. There's hope for everything, and nothing is worth comparing to what's in the future. As I mentioned, my episodes are meant to motivate you, educate you. You can't lead yourself into destruction. The only one that is going to save you is Jesus. But if you don't even believe in Jesus and you're thinking about the metaphysical world, then who's going to save you? You are. But that's the thing. You can only save yourself into where you're actually stable. And that's the thing. A lot of us are not actually stable. And everybody likes to say, oh, I'm mentally unstable, and like to put that as a flex. That's actually not a flex. That is actually crazy. Boasting about being unmentally stable is not cute. And it's not cute. I don't know how some guys find that attractive. I don't know how some girls find that attractive. But that is not cute. Being mentally unstable shows some part of you that you can't overcome. Why are we gonna boast or flex about being mentally stable when there's people that are actually stable and have future and success? Why are we normalizing the bare minimum when there's so much high standards that we can actually reach over for? We set our minds too low to when it's the time for us to actually get up, it's already too late. You're probably going to be in your 20s when you realize that you have wasted all that potential when you could have gotten up and healed throughout that lifetime. You start realizing how much time you have lost when you start realizing too late. See, that's the thing. The healing journey starts now, not later. Because if you start later, you're going to start regretting it. You can't ignore the problems, because then whenever you go through your life, you're still going to hold the baggage that you have yet let go of. You gotta be able to let go of the things slowly so you can be able to recover yourself, to be able to have that renewed self. throughout the healing journey, you have to be willing to set yourself up to becoming a strong individual, to be able to let go of the things that have served you. A lot of people had individuals that served them, and that's where I didn't know if I should talk about healing and journey, because a lot of people have also dealt with like the losses of parents, losses of grandparents, losses of a loved one. I would never experience that, and I thank God that my family members are healthy, they're clean and everything. But when the time is to come, I can relate to other people's experiences. And it's not for me to relate to, but it's for me to understand and know how other people were able to heal from it. So if the day was to come, I have the knowledge on how I should react or not, you know? And that's why I absolutely love listening to people's stories, because you never understand, like, as I mentioned, you never know when you're going to need that lesson. You never know if that person is going to reveal to you something. You never know if their story is going to be the key to your freedom. And so that's why I acknowledge listening. And that's why it's so important for you to listen and devote yourself humbly. You got to be able to be humble towards authority. Because that, you got to be able to be humble towards yourself, because you just can't act like a higher person when you're not the higher person. See, you can act and have the auto-suggestion go on through your life course, but if there's no action, it's just based on motion, you're not going to achieve that. You got to start acting on it. Stop making promises that you can't keep. You're promising yourself all of this stuff, and the bag of promises is full. Make some completed so you can be able to add some more promises. Stop neglecting those promises as well. You promise so much things, you don't ever accomplish them. Not just that, guys. The importance about healing is the acknowledgement and knowing and understanding yourself better. I also want to talk about how use your time wisely. Take the time for granted. You never know when it's the last day you get to see them. We always talk about how we should enjoy time with others, and you never know when it's the last time. But think about you. When is it going to be the last time you get to enjoy that? When is going to be the last time you get to enjoy that feeling? It's not about the person, it's about how you're going to feel. Because it's through your feelings that you can be able to resemble that memory. And so that's why you should be able to have a good time with others. Spend your time wisely. Don't argue, don't fight, don't do all of that, because as I mentioned, you don't know when will be the last time you get to have that experiences. Let's talk about physically healing. Now, I'm not a doctor, as I mentioned in the beginning in the disclaimer, but physically healing, I have done some physically healing because of soccer. I was able to resonate my healing journeys with my healing journey on soccer because, number one, it was a process to heal, and number two, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I always blame myself. I was like, bro, like, how the heck did you get injured? And third of all, it was so uncomfortable, but I had to shift into that mind where I was like, okay, now I gotta heal. I had to focus on the healing. And so that's why I started taking account on my healing journey, that I should be able to focus and devote the attention, just as I did on my physical healing journey, because I could not just neglect it and ignore it. I had to accept it. See, we're wanting to resonate with things that don't matter when the little things are actually something that can be a definite answer to what you're wanting to listen or wanting to hear. You never know what that little thing can reveal to you in the long run. Mentally healing. Now, this is the one that I definitely took a lot of time for. And it's something that kind of inspired me into like creating this podcast, is because for me to be able to reach the next milestone, I had to be able to accept the things that I had to like fix, so I had to fix what I've caused. I had to fix the things that I couldn't even fix, so I had to do a lot of analytical stuff. I had to do some self-journaling. I had to do a lot of things for me to be able to reach the next milestone. Now, mentally healing, I was a mentally weird kid. And I mean, I'm still a kid, but I'm talking about mentally weird kid. I did like a whole 360, and I like every single time I look at that girl, I'm like, who are you? And I just look at her and I'm like, I am so proud of you though, because you are full of potential. You're just wasting it though. And so mental healing was such a process, but for me it was so beautiful because I actually listen. And that's the thing, we don't listen to ourselves. And there's some things that we actually have to do so we can be able to reach the next milestone. Disobedient is the projection of you not listening to yourself. That's why it's so important that you listen to yourself, because you don't want to project the disobedience towards others. Emotional healing. Now, this is the one that actually I like. The last one, yes, I had to heal, but emotionally healing, it was a fun ride. That's why I talked about emotional maturity, emotionally healing. On the other hand, it was definitely it was a ride because number one, the emotions that you have are based on like your traumas and all of that, and it's something that a lot of us kind of have to let go. A lot of us have to let go of that emotional resentment. A lot of us have to let go of the emotional anger. And the thing is, healing from that is that's critical. That's discipline right there. Being or willing to heal is discipline. It's discipline, it's devotion, it's a lot. But as I mentioned, it is so worth it because you're gaining a piece of you. Rather be full than empty of you. William Shakespeare. Holistic healing. Now that's like the full self. That's you healing your full self. And a lot of spiritual healing comes from the holistic healing, which is healing your whole individual. The holistic healing took a role in me trying to change and devote myself into my faith. And so that type of healing is so different. It's a different type of healing. That's like creating a new you. But I could talk about that later on in the next episode. But this was the healing portion of the episode. Now, let me give out some resources and some tips for you to heal. Some things that you can do for you to be able to heal. Number one, disconnecting from the world. As though that seems like isolation, that is what's needed, because sometimes the world around you starts being so loud when you're trying to heal from something that's louder. And so disconnecting from the world gives you that sense of peace. It gives you that sense of calmness, and not just that, it shows you who you are. It is also important for you to seek for help. Now, as much as I can say, everybody's journey is so different. Seek support on like your mental health, like therapists, counseling, life coaches. Seek support with your friends. They could probably help you. And not just that, as I mentioned, the people that you don't understand their stories, you can be able to talk to them as well. It's so important for you to seek support, because you don't know if it's very serious or it's very harming, but it's good for you to be able to have someone to take also accountability over you, because sometimes we don't realize it, that there's something that's holding us back, but we don't know it. So someone else can call us out, or someone else can give us advice. So always seek support. Hanging around good people. Now, don't hang around people that are not going to help you grow, heal, because healing is the change or the transition for growth. And so you can't grow with the people that you have outgrown. You have to be willing to let go of those pleasures and those friends that are not going to serve you. Focus on you. Anything that it is that could help you focus and put that attention to you, do it. Like working out, eating healthy, getting yourself ready. Anything that's going to help you become or focus on you. Don't trigger yourself. It's not worth triggering yourself. Don't trigger yourself knowing that you're going to feel that pain. If you're triggering yourself all the time, it's probably you're the problem, because you're seeking that validation. But once you have it, you're feeling triggered. So you have to be able to have that little discipline and not trying to trigger it and letting it go, because the past is the past. What can be done? Nothing. So it is better to kind of let go of that trigger. Don't try to trigger it. And if someone triggers it, keep your temper. Like, you gotta be able to react maturely. Meditate and journal. Now, I'm gonna have a journal template on the newsletter. Make sure you subscribe to it, as I mentioned in the beginning, so you can be able to have and reach out for any sources that I have mentioned in today's video. Now, next portion, recovery. Recovery is a process, not an end state. It's a series of steps a person takes to make life better on multiple dimensions: physical, mental, spiritual, well-being, a sense of purpose, and connection. I really wanted to talk about recovery because I feel like I've lost a piece of myself in which I had to recover. And I'm talking about I lost a good sense of me. Healing is like trying to become better, wanting to be better, knowing that you can have that better. Now recovery is retrieving something. And so I want to retrieve the person I used to be before. Not like the bad person, because I healed from that bad person. I want to be the individual that was actually disciplined, the individual that actually focused on themselves. I want to go back to the individual that had their goals and had them met. I want to recover. And I really wanted to talk about recovery because I felt like I lost a piece of myself when I started entering school. And school drained me a lot, to the point that it kind of drove me insane. I literally gained so much weight. I gained everything that I lost. And I kind of gained extra pounds. And I was like, dude, I got to recover myself. I got to recover my old body back too. Because I'm just hurting me. I'm putting myself to go through that such steep route that I don't deserve it. I don't deserve going through such steep route. But I'm kind of letting myself go through there because, number one, the lack of discipline and everything, and knowing that I could have changed something. But I feel like it was needed for me to go through that because I know that I could be able to retrieve the thing that I've lost. But if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be thinking this way, because it made me acknowledge so much about my self-insecurity and everything. And it made me realize how I can change, and if I can't change, others can change. So I started thinking about that. If it wasn't for this, there wouldn't be no change. And so retrieving the thing that you have lost is you accepting that even though you want it back, there has to be a slight change for you to retrieve it back. Yeah, recovery is like the things that you have lost. And I've definitely, as I mentioned, if I was healing physically, I was recovering physically as well. I was recovering on like the skills that I've lost throughout the season that I wasn't playing. I had to recover, like I had to do some exercises. And so recovery is also in that part in life in which you have to exercise it for you to be able to fit into that spot again, for you to be able to squeeze into the stuff that you want to be in. And so recovery, you have to be willing to be able to exercise and put yourself into that constant action to be able to put yourself in that spot again. Because you can't just have that spot and then let that piece of you just keep going, but there's so much more in the future. As I mentioned on the other portion of the video about healing, we have the things that are listed, like physical recovery, mental recovery, and all of that. So I want to go over that. Physical recovery. Now, how can you physically recover? Number one, medication. Number two, doing the exercises that you need to do physically. You can't expect to come back as you were without learning the basics. You got to be able to have and move with the little things. We want the big things without doing the little things. And this is where micro habits come in place. For you to be able to have that physical recovery, you have to have the micro habits for you to develop bigger habits in the future. Because with smaller habits, you can make them bigger throughout the time. Now, you can't make bigger habits and then shrink down, because that's not going to actually help you recover at all. That's actually going to hurt you starting off with something so hard, and then at the end of the day, you become so tired that you have to go weak. No, you have to start things slow. Things are slow at the beginning. It picks up its momentum later on, and that's what recovery is. Physical recovery, medication, exercises, rest and sleep, guys. Take some rest, take some sleep. I started to take account of this when I started seeing myself burning out. I never experienced burnout, bro. And this year, I actually experienced burnout for the first time. And that's where I started feeling like my world was falling apart. because I never experienced such feeling. And I was like, dude, why am I feeling burnout? I'm like 16. No, I was 15. So I'm like, bro, I'm 15. What? Who 15-year-old is having a burnout at this age? And then I started talking to my mom, and my mom was like, oh, it's like that's you entering like the work, like in the workforce, you're gonna have burnout and everything. And so when I started my podcast and everything, I started to have burnout. And I was so concerned over me. I was like, Mom, I need a doctor. Like, I cannot keep up with this. Like, my head is hurting. I am feeling such exhaustion. I'm feeling lazy. And it wasn't that I was lazy. I just felt like there. And then I started feeling like disconnected. And it was so bad that I thought I was tripping. And when I would tell people, people would be like, are you okay? And I'll be like, yeah. And then when I talked to like some adults, they were like, oh, it's just burnout. And I'm like, okay, buddy. And so that's where I started to take that time to actually rest and sleep. Emotional recovery. Now this one, I just love emotions. Like, bro, Inside Out is coming out, guys. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for that. Hopefully I'm watching it with my friends. Therapy, mindfulness, support, and self-care are the things that you can mentally recover yourself. Mental recovery, you can do some exercises, engaging skills that can stimulate or challenge your brain, healthy lifestyle, and medication. Now, healthy lifestyle, I do want to talk about lifestyle routines and everything in the next episode, because it is so important on how your life is structured, because I tend to talk about the mind, but we also have to talk about our lifestyle. So keep on watch for that episode. It's important for you to approach healing and recovery with patience, persistence, and effort. With no effort, there's no achievement. Everything is based on trying to achieve the goal that you want to have. You have to be willing to be persistent through the journey. You have to be willing to be patient with that journey. It's patience, not the rush. You can't rush the healing when the wound is so deep. And when you're patient, that wound starts becoming a scar. And those scars are the things that you can talk about to others. Be patient, be persistent, and put the effort, because you're going to make it. You're going to be able to heal and recover that sense of self back. You're going to heal the person that you have hurted inside of you, your inner child. You owe it to yourself. This is for you. This journey is for you. Yes, the situation's hard. Yes, you're probably feeling it. Your emotions are everywhere. Your life is everywhere. But it's not about the situation that you're supposed to be focusing on. It's about the glory that it's not yet to be compared to what is going to be in the future. There's so much in the future. You can't neglect who you are based on something that happened now when there's something ahead. Don't be blinded by the now, but be driven by the future. Value yourself. Healing is the process of you reaching the next milestone. For you to be able to reach the next stop, you gotta be willing to put all of that journey into its use, so when the next stop comes, you're ready in the individual that you have dreamed and seek to be. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening to the Frame of Mind podcast here on Spotify and Apple Podcast. If you're watching here on YouTube, make sure you subscribe on the platforms, on my podcast platforms. Make sure you give it a rating. A rating is going to help me a lot. Make sure you share it. Sharing is going to help it a lot. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. I am so beyond excited for this to come out. Every week, I'm trying to post a podcast episode. If it's not every week, then it's every 2 weeks. So stay tuned. Anyways, guys, thank you. Love y'all. Bye, guys.